500 years ago, the entire known world lay between the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. This was the beginning of an extraordinary period in human history. Sailing first from Spain and then the rest of Europe came the explorers of the New World. Join Christopher Columbus, Hernando Cortes, Ferdinand Magellan, and 60 other explorers, and experience firsthand what this amazing time was really like.
Buongiorno. My name is Christopher Columbus. Click on me and I'll show you how I conquered the ocean sea.
I am Hernando Cortes, conqueror of the Aztecs of ancient Mexico. Click on me and hear my story and find out the ways of a conquistador.
I, Ferdinand Magellan, was the first to circumnavigate the world. Click on me to join me on my amazing adventure.
Sure, you heard about Columbus, Cortes, and Magellan. I sailed with all three, and many more besides. If you click on me, I'll tell you about some other explorers who didn't make it to the front pages.
Before you lie the important places of my life. The grandeur of Ferdinand and Isabella's court. My legendary voyage aboard the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria to the fabled islands of the Indies, and all my many adventures. Just click on a site to step into my world.
From the years 1492 to 1504, Christopher Columbus made 4 journeys to the New World. Click on the court to experience how it all began. Or choose a stop along the route map to join the adventure. Enter the New World.
My destiny was determined in the court of Ferdinand and Isabella of Spain. Please join me. I do not wish to be late.
Columbus paid his decisive visit to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella in the fall of 1491. Here you will find many of the people who helped or hindered Columbus, as well as information about Columbus's world. Click around to learn more, or click near the left and right sides of the screen to walk about the Spanish monarch's dazzling court.
All the great navigators sailed east to the Indies, a long and arduous journey. I knew I could reach the Indies by sailing west, but convincing the right sponsor to pay for my voyage has been difficult. My previous audience with the king and queen was a bit disappointing, but this time my proofs are indisputable. I pray they will agree. Your revered most Catholic Highnesses, allow me to present my plan.
In the 8th century, Muslim Moors conquered Spain. The Reconquista, or Reconquest, was the Christian-Spanish struggle to oust the Muslim invaders and return Spain to Christian sovereignty. Christian fought Muslim for 700 years before the Moors were finally defeated. From North Africa, the Moors conquered and colonized, building a powerful kingdom in Spain. For centuries, the romantic dream of the Reconquista occupied the hearts and minds of the hidalgos, young Spanish noblemen who sacrificed their lives for God and country. Gradually, piece by piece, they returned Spain to Christian rule. 1492, the armies of Ferdinand and Isabella finally conquered the last Moorish stronghold of Granada. Now the monarchs could turn their attention to other ventures. When the Reconquista was completed, many hidalgos were ready for new adventures. Fierce soldiers with an appetite for easy wealth, they became the conquerors of the New World. However, their wildness and their scorn for ordinary labor made them difficult to rule, as Columbus and later leaders in the New World discovered. Wars and the purchases of exotic goods from Asia had drained the treasuries of many. But the Portuguese were still unsatisfied. In 1494, they pressured Spain to sign the Treaty of Tordesillas, which moved the line of demarcation 100 leagues west. That is why Brazil, when it was discovered, fell into the Portuguese sphere of influence. But was the Eastern Hemisphere included in the treaty? If so, where did the treaty line fall on the other side of the globe? These questions would have greater importance later. The age of exploration was filled with new discoveries and political upheaval. This timeline will show you what world events were taking place when the explorers embarked on their travels. Click the arrows to move the timeline backwards and forwards.
As a youth of just 19, I sailed from Spain to Cuba. Click on a site and learn how I overthrew an empire of millions with only a few Spanish soldiers. Or click on my horse to join my campaign.
In 1521, with only 600 Spanish soldiers, Hernando Cortes conquered the mighty Aztec Empire. How did he do it? Click a site along the campaign route to learn more. Cortes and his new Indian allies traveled inland towards Tenochtitlan. Through the reports of spies and runners, Moctezuma watched their progress nervously. Cortes believed that the Tlaxcaltec Indians, enemies of the Aztecs, would ally themselves with him. However, the fiercely independent Tlaxcaltecs attacked the Spanish instead. Although the Tlaxcaltecs had nearly 30,000 warriors, the Spanish, with only about 600 soldiers, won many of the battles. This convinced the Tlaxcaltecs to join them. What weapons and techniques did the Spanish and Indians use in their battles? Click a weapon to learn more about it. Seville steel cut easily through the Aztec cotton armor. The superiority of the Spaniards' swords to the Indians' obsidian blades was so great that the Spanish later forbade any Indian from owning a Spanish sword. Taking captives was a key goal of Aztec warfare. Killing the enemy on the battlefield meant you couldn't sacrifice him later. This practice gave the Spaniards plenty of time to cut down their Aztec adversaries. The Indians first subdued an enemy soldier by knocking him off his feet. Then he was bound and led to the rear for later sacrifice.
When my ships sailed around the globe, we joined east and west and taught the world it was one. Click on a site or click on my ship and come with me on this historic voyage.
Welcome to the Trinidad, Magellan's flagship. Let's take a look at some of her major features. There were usually 3 masts on a ship this size: the main mast, the mizzen mast, and the foremast. Sails were attached with horizontal or diagonal yards. The rudder was attached to the rear of the ship. The helmsman would sit in a small compartment and steer according to instructions called to him through a hatch by the pilot. Before there were clocks, time was kept aboard ship with an ampoletta, or hourglass. The ship's boy on watch duty turned the ampoletta every half hour when it ran out. Magellan ships carried only a few cannon, but their impact on natives was impressive. Stews were cooked in the fogon, or firebox, each day around noontime when the watch changed. This was the sailor's main meal of the day, and usually contained beans or chickpeas and rice with a small amount of salted meat. Because the ship's water quickly turned putrid, wine was a big part of the daily allowance. Sailors were allocated as much as 2 liters a day per man, and most of the men worked slightly drunk all day. After you've chosen an explorer, click on a place shown on his map to learn even more. After you've chosen an explorer, click on a place shown on his map.